Now we're live. So, welcome to our presentation on how ERPNext can help streamline your agriculture processes, specifically for livestock and crop cycle management. As the agriculture industry becomes more complex and competitive, it is crucial for farmers to adopt advanced tools that can help them optimize their operations and improve their bottom line. Okay. ERPNext is a powerful and user-friendly software solution that can help farmers manage their livestock and crop cycles with ease. From managing inventory and tracking costs to forecasting yields and analyzing data, ERPNext provides a comprehensive suite of tools to help you make informed decisions and maximize your productivity.
In this presentation, we will explore the key features of ERPNext that are relevant to agriculture, including customer and vendor management, stock and inventory management, purchase and sales order processing, material transfers, and repacking. We will also demonstrate how these features can be used in the context of livestock and crop cycle management, giving you a practical understanding of how ERPNext can benefit your farm. Whether you're a small scale farmer or a large agricultural enterprise, ERP Next can help you achieve greater efficiency, profitability, and sustainability. So let's get started and see how ERP Next can help transform your agricultural operations for the better.
We'll show you how to use ERPNext intuitive interface, powerful features, and customizable modules to optimize your farming operations and achieve greater efficiency, productivity, and profitability. So, whether you're new to ERPNext or just looking to improve your agriculture management skills, we hope you'll find this tutorial helpful and informative. So, let's get started. For the first step, it is company setup. The first step to using ERPNext for agriculture is setting up your company. To do this, you'll need to provide some basic information about your farm or agribusiness, such as its name, address, contact details, and legal structures. You will also need to define your chart of accounts, which will help you track your income and expenses as well as your inventory of crops. So right now, I'll demonstrate it. Okay, so first step is to search for the company list. Okay, I already created a company here. All you need to do is to fill up all the necessary fields depending on your company's requirements. Okay, so next is global default. The next step in setting up ERPNext for agriculture is to configure your global defaults. These are the default settings that will be applied to all transactions and operations in your ERPNext account, unless you specify otherwise. So, how to do this? Again, we'll go back to my demonstration. Go to global defaults. As you can see, the default company is set up to the company that I created. And then the default currency depending on your country, on the currency used on your country. So in this case, since we are in the Philippines, we use PHP. Okay, so just save that. Okay, let's go back to home and let's go to the next step. Okay, so next is workspace creation. Now that you've configured your global defaults, it's time to create a workspace for your agriculture operations. A workspace is a customized view of ERPNext that allows you to focus on specific tasks and for workflows that are relevant to your business. So I'll demonstrate it again. So in order to create a workspace, you have to click this button, create workspace, and then put the title of your workspace. So in this case, I'll put agriculture 2. So for an icon, choose an appropriate icon depending on your workspace. And click public and create. Okay, now that we've created a workspace, we'll try to add content inside it. Okay, so we'll add a chart, and chart name would be sales. Okay, no, sales order trends. So label sales order trends. So this will add a graph. Okay, so you can edit its spacing. You can shrink it so you can fit two graphs, or you can fit multiple graphs in two graphs in one row. So you can add another graph here. So let's try purchase instead. Purchase purchase order trends. Okay, so shrink. Okay, so now we can fit two graphs in one row, or we can move it up or down depending on how you want to create your workspace. You can also add a card which will uh, so let's try add generic, and then you can add doc type. So we will be working on the project doc type a lot on this project. So let's try put a label on it and add. Okay, here's your card. So all you need to do is save it, and it will be saved. Okay, fresh. Okay, so since we already created a workspace, I'll just show you how it looks like. So we will delete this, deleted it, and then I'll show you the workspace I created for agriculture. Okay, okay. So these are the doc types that we will frequently use on this project. Now that I've shown you how to create a workspace, we'll move on to the next step. April.
Okay, now that you've created a workspace for your agriculture operations, it's time to create user accounts for the people who will be using ERP Next to manage your business. There are three types of user accounts that you may want to create: farm manager, farm user, and system admin. The farm manager is the person who will be responsible for overseeing your agriculture operations and making strategic decisions about planting, harvesting, and production. The farm user is the person who will be responsible for executing these decisions on the ground by managing your crops, livestock, and equipment. The system admin is the person who will be responsible for managing your ERP Next account, including setting up users, configuring settings, and troubleshooting any issues. Okay. In addition to creating user accounts for your team, you'll also want to create employee accounts in ERP Next to manage your workforce. Employee accounts allow you to track important data about your employees, such as their personal information, employment status, job title, and compensation. For agriculture businesses, some of the key information you may want to track for your employees includes their job title, department work schedule, and compensation. You may also want to use ERPNext to track performance metrics such as attendance, productivity, and quality of work. To do this, go to the employee in the HR management card on the agriculture workspace and click on the new button. Enter the necessary details for the employee such as name, designation, department, and other relevant information. To bind the user account to the employee record, open the employee record and go to the user permission section. In this section, you will see a field called user where you can select the user account that you created in step 1. Once you have selected the user account, click on the Save button to bind the user account to the employee record. Once you have completed the above steps, it is important to test the employee's access to ERP Next. Log out of your admin account and log in with the employee's user account. Check if the employee can access the relevant modules and perform the required tasks. If there are any issues, review the permissions you have set and make the necessary adjustments.
Okay, moving on to the next step. Task. Okay, this one is of employee creation. Okay, so next is task creation. Managing tasks is an essential part of any agriculture business, and ERPNext provides powerful tools for creating and tracking tasks across your organization. With ERPNext, you can create template tasks that can be used across multiple projects and even create project templates that can be used to create new projects with predefined tasks and timelines. To create the template task in ERPNext, you'll need to go to the task section of your. Okay, so first I'll demonstrate it. Okay, go to task. Okay, as you can see, we have already created tasks for template. So in order to create this, add, then create, and then put the subject of the task or what the task is about, and then put the status on template and click the is template button. You can also define task properties such as start day, which is begin on days, and the end day duration. So if you want the task to last for 10 days, you'll put first day here and then you put 10th day here on this field. So once you've saved it, this is an example of how you create this task. For the timeline, this begin on the 5th day and end on the 5th day. This task begins on the 14th day. This task ends on the 15th day. So what is the purpose for clicking the is template checkbox? So next is creating project template. So once you've created all these template tasks, go to project template, create project template. So let's say It's a project template for crop cycle. As for the project type, we can leave it at blank. So for the tasks, we can choose all the tasks that we created for this. So receive first is to create purchase order for seeds, add row, create purchase order for seeds. Okay, we'll add each one. So, okay, okay, for the last one. Okay, now let's save this. Once we've saved this, we can create a project using this template. We can create multiple projects for this template. So to create a project, we can just go to any project template that we want to create project from, or no, we can go to this, then click add button here. So it automatically creates a project with this template. Or you can go to projects instead. You can go to project doc type instead, then add a project. It's the same. You can just choose crop cycle here and then name it appropriately. Crop cycle project. So we can leave the end date at blank. It depends on your requirements. So let's save it. Oh, wait. Okay, now that I've opened this project, it automatically adds the tasks here. Okay. So the start and end date automatically calculates depending on the start date that you created the task, that you created the project. Okay, and then if you are the if you are the farm manager, you can assign this um, assign to an employee that we created earlier. So if you want to assign this to an employee, then add a date that you want this to be completed by, or you can choose a priority, or you can leave it at blank and add, then all of these are assigned to this user or to this employee. Okay, now that we've uh, created this project, we will move on to the next step now. Malik?
Um, Next is the item group creation. Managing inventory is a critical part of any agriculture business, and ERPNext provides a powerful tool for managing your products and supplies. To keep your inventory organized, you can use item groups to group your products and supplies together based on their characteristics. To create an item group in ERPNext, you will need to go to the item group section of your account, which can be accessed through the stocks menu. Here you can create new item groups and assign items to specific groups. For example, you may want to create an item group for seeds, fertilizers, or livestock feed. By organizing your inventory into item groups, you can easily track your stock levels and make informed purchasing decisions. Item group naming should be like this. RM livestock, RM medicine, RM feed, RM crop, FG livestock, FG crop. All should be under the agriculture item group node. Next is the warehouse creation. You can use warehouses to store your items in different locations based on their characteristics or use. To create a warehouse in ERPNext, you will need to go to the warehouse section of your account, which can be accessed through the stock menu. Here you can create new warehouses and assign items to specific warehouses. For example, you may want to create a warehouse for seeds storage, fertilizer storage, or livestock feed storage. Warehouse naming can be like this: raw material, work in progress, finished goods. If you want specific warehouses for each project, RM, project number, work in progress, WIP, project number, and FG, project number.
For the next step,
The quality inception template creation. Ensuring the quality of your product is crucial in the agriculture industry. And ERPNext provides a powerful tool for managing quality control. To set up your quality control criteria, you will need to create quality inception templates in ERPNext. So to create quality inception template in ERPNext, you will need to go to the quality management section of your account, which can be accessed through the setup menu here. You can create a new quality inception templates and define and define the criteria criteria that must be met for your products to meet your standards. For example, you may want to create a quality inception template for your tomatoes with the criteria such as color, texture, and size. You can then use this template to perform quality inspections on your on your tomato crops to ensure that they meet quality standards before they are harvested and sold.
okay.
Okay, now that you've set up your quality control criteria and warehouses, it's time to create items for your agriculture business. In ERP Next, you can create different types of items for livestock, feed, medicine, irrigation, and finished goods. So here are the steps to create items in ERP Next. First, go to the item section of your account, which can be accessed through the stock menu. Here, you can create new items by clicking on the new button. When creating a new item, make sure to set the default quality inspection and default warehouse for the item. This will ensure that each item is automatically assigned to the correct warehouse and quality inspection criteria. Next, specify the quality inspection criteria for each item. If the item is received through a purchase order, check the inspection required before purchase box. If the item is sold or is a finished good, check the inspection required before delivery box. When naming your items, use the following naming convention. RM, RMLS, RM-LS- a 5-digit number for livestock raw material, RM-FD for feed raw material, RM-MD for medicine treatment raw material, FD, FG-LS for livestock finished goods, RM-C for crop raw materials, RM-F for fertilizer raw materials, RM-I for irrigation raw materials, and FG-C for crop finished goods. Check the hash check the hash batch number and automatically create a batch number boxes to automatically generate batch numbers for each item. Use the following naming convention for the batch number: item code dash batch dash dot and then followed by a 5-digit number. For example, RM-LS-0001 dash batch dash dot then a 5-digit number.
Okay, for the next step, as an agriculture business, you'll likely be working with a variety of suppliers to source the materials and equipment you need to run your operations. In ERPNext, you can create supplier accounts to manage your relationships with these vendors and keep track of important information such as pricing, delivery schedules, and payment terms. To create supplier accounts in ERPNext, you'll need to go to the supplier section of your account, which can be accessed through the buying menu. Okay, I'll show that to you. Okay, go to buying, go to supplier. Here, you'll be able to create new supplier accounts and enter information about their account details, products, or services offered, and payment terms. So an example of this is BMEG right here. So BMEG is a supplier for feed, for livestock feed. Okay, we can put their addresses and their main contact. Okay, so that's how you set up a supplier account. Okay, next is workflow creation. Okay, so now that we have set up the basics of our company in ERPNext, it's time to create a workflow for purchase orders. This workflow will allow farm users to submit draft purchase orders, which will then be sent to the farm manager for approval. Okay, so let's go to workflow. So this is an example of a workflow that is active currently. implement it, or we can create this by filling in the important details. Is active. Oh, don't override status. So if this is checked, workflow status will not override status in this view. So this status will not override the current status, default status that are on the purchase order document type. So if you uncheck this, these states will appear on the purchase order doc type. So this is the flow, the transition rules, the flow of the workflow. So submit the purchase order for approval. You submit it for approval. So who submits it? The purchase user, or which is assigned to the farm user. Okay. So next, after it is for approval, the farm manager can then approve or reject the purchase order. Approve, approve, or reject. So checking the override status from this view will change the default value. Okay. So that's it for the workflow creation. So for the next step,
Let's move on to creating a new customer for your agriculture operation. In order to keep track of your crop and livestock sales, it's important to have a record of your customers. With ERPNext, you can easily create and manage customer accounts. To get started, click on the new button located in the top right hand corner of the screen. This will open up a new customer creation form where you can enter the details of your buyers. For example, you can add the name, address, contact information of your customer. As an agriculture business owner, it's essential to maintain good relationships with your customers to ensure repeat sales. By using ERPNext to create and manage your customer accounts, you can stay organized and provide excellent customer service. Once you have entered all the necessary information, simply click on the Save button located at the bottom of the form to create a new customer account. Next is the stock entry. Stock entry is an important process that allows you to record the inflow and outflow of the inventory items in your warehouse. In agriculture, this can include items like feed, fertilizer, seeds, livestock, and harvested crops. By using ERPNext to manage your stock entries, you can easily track your inventory level, monitor your stock movements, and ensure accurate stock valuations. This can help you optimize your warehouse operations, minimize losses, and improve your overall efficiency and profitability. Now let's explore how to create a stock entry for livestock cycle. First, navigate to the Projects module in ERPNext and select the project you are working on. Once you have selected the project, click on the plus button next to the Stock Entry section. This will create a new stock entry for the project's warehouse. In the stock entry creation form, select Material Receipts as the stock entry type. Next, in the Items section, only set a target warehouse for a newborn piglet for cultivation. Specify the quantity and basic rate for each piglet as well. It's important to make sure the accounting dimensions are set to the project you are working on, as this will help you keep track of expenses and revenue related to the project. Once you have entered all the necessary information, click the Save button at the bottom of the form to create the stock entry for livestock cultivation. This will add piglets to your inventory in ERPNext and help you stay organized with your cultivation process.
okay, next step. Purchase order process. In agriculture, it's critical to have a steady supply of high quality inputs like seeds, fertilizers, and animal feed. That's why it's important to have a streamlined purchase cycle in place to ensure timely delivery to the right products at the right price. In ERPNext, you can manage your purchase cycle from start to finish, starting with the creation of a purchase order. Now, let's take a closer look at the entire process in ERPNext. Once you've created a purchase order, you can use it to receive goods or services from your supplier by creating a purchase receipt. To do this, go to the purchase receipt module in ERPNext, select the purchase order you created earlier and create a new purchase receipt. In the purchase receipt, you can verify the goods and or purchase you received match that was ordered in the purchase order. Once you've confirmed the accuracy of the receipt, you can create a purchase invoice, then proceed to payment. In the payment entry, you can specify the payment method and any relevant details. So let's move on to more specific demonstration. Okay, stop this. Let's go to do this first. Go to the project that we're working on. Okay, and then create a purchase order. Just click the plus button right beside, then choose the appropriate details that you need. Okay, so for example, we want to order feed. Okay, no, sorry. So we want to put feed. So RMFD. Let's try to find RMFD. And we want 20 socks of feed. Now it automatically calculates it. Okay, so addresses will automatically fill depending on who your supplier is and depending on the default addresses of your company. Okay, once saving it, purchase order will be created. So this can only be approved by someone who has a manager permission. So the farm user could never approve this, but a farm manager can. So we can submit it for approval. The farm user can submit it for approval, then the farm manager will approve it. Okay, now that after approving it, the purchase order was made. So the next step is to either receive it uh, and billing, which is paying for it. Okay, so next, create a purchase receipt. Once you have received your order, create a purchase receipt and then specify the accepted warehouse here. So let's just put raw materials. Okay, so save. Once saving it, it will prompt you to create quality inspection. Since we've checked that inspection is required up before purchase. So we create a quality inspection for this. Okay, once creating it, so the parameter is visual test. We can add more parameters to this depending. It depends on your criteria on quality. So reading value should be 100 since it's numeric. Okay, let's just save this. Save, submit. Okay, once submitting it, go back to the purchase receipt earlier. Reload it. Okay, submit. You have officially received your order. Now, after receiving it, go to purchase invoice. Okay, so banner for the purchase invoice.
For the purchase invoice, from the purchase receipt, create the purchase invoice, and after that, double check every details, then save and submit.
Okay.
Next, the payment entry. From the purchase invoice, create the payment and choose the payment type. Double check every details, then save and submit.
In the previous section, we explored the entire purchase processes in ERPNext. Now, let's move on to another important feature, which is material transfer. Material transfer allows you to move items or goods from one warehouse to another within your company. For example, you may need to move livestock from one farm to another, or transfer crops from the field to a warehouse. Let's demonstrate how to do that. Go to the projects and select the project you are working on. Then click the Add button right beside the stock entry and choose or input the stock entry type, material transfer for example. In the item section, choose the source warehouse as well as the target warehouse. Enter the quantity of the item. The, the source warehouse should be raw materials, and the target warehouse should be work in progress. Click the edit button beside the basic rate and choose the batch number.
All right.
After you choose the batch number, click Update Rate and Availability to automatically update the basic rate. After all the steps are done, click Save.
Next step.
The next step, the repacking. Repacking allow you to convert one item into another item or split a single item into multiple items. For example, you may need to convert a raw produce into processed goods or split block shipment of livestock into smaller groups for resale. It starts with creating it starts with creating a stock entry document. A stock entry type should be repacking. Uh, enter all of the items in the warehouse work in progress. Only specify the source warehouse for all of the items, and after that, click update rate and availability after adding all of the items. Enter the item as the finished product. Specify the target warehouse for this item. The warehouse should be finished goods. Edit the row of the finished item and check is finished item. After submitting the value of the finishing item is the total value of all of the items from work in progress.
Next.
Sales order. Sales order is a document that records the details of a sales transaction between a buyer and a seller. This order typically includes information such as the name and address of the buyer and seller, the date of the transaction, the products being sold, the quality and price of each product, and any other relevant details such as shipping instructions, payment terms, and delivery dates. When creating a sales order, go to Products and select the project you are working on.
Okay.
Click the Add button right beside the sales order connection.
Okay, next. Okay, next is specify the customer and delivery date. Select the item to sell. Specify the rate and quantity. The rate should be equal to or greater than its value after repacking. Double check all the other details, including addresses and accounting dimensions. Okay, so I'll show you one sales order that we made. So the rate here is 5,000. This should be higher than the repack value. Uh, it should be higher than the repack value. Okay, so earlier on the entry, we have a repack of all of the expenses made, which is the medicine, the piglet for cultivation, and the hog pellets, which is the food or the feed for the livestock. So all of the repack value actually equates to 2,800. So all of this value equates to this 2,800 with a quantity of 50. So all of its value is 140,000. Okay. So it should be the sales should be higher. Okay. Now that we put it 5,000, we have a 250,000 sales total sales amount. Which if you subtract it, you have a revenue of 110,000. I think. So that's just an example of how this works. Okay, next. Next is sales invoice. So on the sales order, you have to create sales invoice. Uh, so it should be on the connections. Okay. Now that we have the sales invoice, we just have to click it since we created earlier an example of it. So, so let's show the presentation first. Okay. Wait. No, delivery note. Okay. So a delivery note, a document that recommends the records, the transfer of goods or products from one party to another. It serves as proof of delivery, which includes information such as the name and address of the buyer and seller, the date and time of delivery, the type and quantity of products being delivered, and any other relevant details such as product quality, packaging, and payment terms. It starts with opening the sales order and then creating a delivery note. So you go back to the sales order earlier. So create a delivery note here and then specify the needed details. Okay. So it automatically adds all these details, but you have to put the addresses. So it depends on the default addresses of the company and your supply or your customer. I mean, your customer. Okay. So after the delivery note, sales invoice. Okay. So I'll show it. Sales invoice, a document that is used to request payment from a buyer for products or services that have been provided by a seller. The sales invoice typically includes information such as the name and address of the buyer and seller, the date of the transaction, a description of the products or services being sold, the quantity and price of each item, and any other relevant details such as taxes, discounts, and shipping charges. First, find the sales order that you want to create a sales invoice for and open it by clicking on its name. Okay, so we'll demonstrate it again. Go back to the sales order. Okay, so once you create, you can, in this example, we have already created the sales invoice. So you can just click the add button here, right beside. So once you created it, the sales invoice will appear. Should then have roughly the same details that you need to put in from the sales order. Okay, you can now print it or can print it right here. That's the report. Okay, so after that, receive payment. Okay, this refers to the process of receiving payments for products or services that have been sold by a seller to a buyer. The process typically involves recording the payment in the seller's accounting system, updating the balance of the buyer's account, and issuing a receipt or acknowledgement to the buyer. So next is finding the sales order. Again, finding the sales invoice, then creating a payment. Okay, here's a payment entry. Okay, so this is a payment type, should be on receive, not pay. If you're selling, it should be on receive. Okay. Okay, verify that the details of the payment entry are correct. You can modify any of the details that you need to change at this point. Once you are satisfied with the payment entry details, click Save button to save the payment entry. In this case, it is already saved and submitted. You can now print or email. You can now print. Okay. Received from. Okay. So we'll check our stock balance report. Okay, this is how you check your stock balance report. Should be up to date. Okay, generate and then refresh. Okay, now you'll see the number of stock on your warehouses. So on the raw material warehouses, we have 30 feeds, 5 antibiotics, and 20 piglets for cultivation. Oh, okay, we have transferred 20. This is the items that we transferred earlier. The feed, 20 feed are now in the work in progress. So, yep. And that's a wrap for our discussion on the streamlining agricultural processes with ERPNext, an introduction to livestock and crop cycle management. I hope you find this video I hope you found this video informative and insightful. By using ERPNext to track your operations, you can gain a competitive edge in the agriculture industry and achieve greater success. Whether you're a farmer, an agribusiness, or anyone who works in agriculture, this module can help you manage your livestock and crops more efficiently and effectively. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a great day.